we're back on another episode, Vault Unlocked. And today is a special day for me because this is where the student gets to meet the teacher. In 2010, I put on the CD cassette tapes and started listening to something called Your Wish is Your Command. And today we have the myth, the legend, the author of this. He's been all around for many years. You know who he is. His name is Kevin Trudeau. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here. My pleasure.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to deep dive into everything that's probably been going on for the last little while for you. But really, I mean, into some of this knowledge that personally has changed my life, knowledge that I truly believe in a world that we live in today. People need to hear this. They need to see this with all the psyops going on. Everything you've been saying with this whole, like how they're trying to control us, all of it. It's so loud. You can't undeny it anyway. You can't fight it unless you're just completely ignorant. So I'm excited. But for those of the people listening, they may not know who Kevin Trudeau is. They maybe speak the name might be a myth between part visionary and, I have to say, maybe part villain. But for those who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about who is Kevin Trudeau and how did how do we end up here today?
Well, it depends on how old somebody is. If they go back to the 90s, they know me as the Infomercial King. I produce more winning infomercials in TV in America and around the world than anybody in history, generated over 10 billion in sales. If you're in Europe, you know me as the owner of the Golf Channel, Shop America, which was another home shopping channel. We beat out Home Shopping Network for the number 2 spot after QVC, and also an entertainment channel called UTV. It's all about you. I hosted the Kevin and Debbie show, and so I had 3 big TV networks there. If you were in Australia, you know me as the mining magnet because I had big mining operations there. And recently, if you're in the last 20 years, you might know me as a number 1 New York Times bestselling author of Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About. That book was number 1 on the New York Times list 26 weeks in a row, sold 50 million copies. My other 5 books sold another 50 million. So got 100 million books sold. You know, my enterprises have done about 25 billion in sales around the year, but it depends on what you're reading. You know, it's like Kevin Trudeau is the snake oil salesman, the scam artist. My first thing was Mega Memory, how to improve your memory, natural cures. And then you mentioned Your Wish is Your Command. And I have had a host of enterprises, but at the end of the day, I've really been exposing the things that they don't want you to know about.
Yeah.
And today, all the things I talked about 15, 20 years ago are proven to be 100% true. I talked about red dye. I talked about fluoride in the water. I talked about talcum powder being a cause of cancer, and NBC crucified me. NBC did this big expose, and ABC. How dare you say that Johnson's baby powder with talc is bad for babies and causes cancer? I mean, they crucified me. And today, that goes in the Kevin was right file.
Yeah.
Because now we know, because it's banned, it's off the market.
Yeah.
We now know it's been proven. I knew it 20 years ago, 25 years ago when I said it. So there's an amazing history, but as you said, your wish is your command, how to manifest your desires, law of attraction, how to create your goals and set goals and achieve goals is a lot of people know me for that as well.
Yeah. I there's so much here. I don't even know where to go because I love it because for those we didn't talk about, you got in trouble with one of those books.
Yeah. When I wrote Natural Cures, They Don't Want You to Know About, I exposed the drug companies. And remember,
which is basically exposing what now? BlackRock and Vanguard.
That's correct. I exposed it all. And this is 20 years ago before the internet. I was the only voice out there, but I was on TV every single day.
Yeah,
I had more impressions than Oprah Winfrey back then. So I was all over the television, and the government just went after me. They sat me down and said, you have to stop doing this. Otherwise, we're going to go after you. And I made a decision that I was going to stand up for free speech and continue to expose government and corporate corruption and what the drug companies were doing. And I knew, they told me, we're going to get you somehow. So the first thing they did is sent the IRS in. And the IRS lived in my office for 2 years and they owed me $3 million.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Right?
So that didn't work.
But no one knows that. No one believes that, right? They don't. Yeah.
No. So the IRS was here, but I actually always overpaid my taxes. So when they did the audit, they actually had to give me money. So that didn't work. And then they sent after the FDA to look at all of our supplements, and that didn't work. Then they sent the FTC, and that didn't work. So, they got me on contempt of court, which isn't even a crime. The judge ordered me, I don't want to say a corrupt judge, he's still on the bench, but he ordered me to stop talking about my books on TV in the way that I wanted to talk about them. I said, that's a First Amendment issue. And I continued to do it. And he said, you're willfully violating my order. That's contempt of court. And he put me in prison for 10 years. The longest sentence in the history of America for contempt of court. And of course, the government has the media in their back pocket. So they called me a snake oil salesman, then a scammer and all this other stuff. But there's hundreds of millions of customers around the world that love the material that I produced, my books and other material, have benefited from it dramatically. Like yourself, you listen to the material. So the only people that really had anything bad to say about me was the government, the people that I was exposing. So it's no surprise.
I don't want to say you're not this guy. So I don't want to say this I do not want anyone. I want to be very clear. Now you got to watch everything you freaking say today, right? I'm not comparing you to this guy, but you were like the old age, I guess you would call it, of Andrew Tate. Like in the sense of them coming after of Trump, of these people that they're coming after, smearing campaign, lying. The thing you didn't have back then, which probably would have kept you out of jail, was a social media. You didn't have enough power. All we were ever watching was what they were saying.
That's exactly.
I guarantee you would not be in jail if that was happening today, because they wouldn't let them. They would be crucified if that happened.
Yeah. Well, I agree, but it's a different time, and I was willing to pay that price for free speech and for ethics and integrity.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm back, and I'm continuing to do what I did when I went away. I'm just not going to stop. And if they come after me again,
you're ready and stronger than ever. So I love it. So let's talk about we're talking about the FDA here. We're talking about what they don't want us to know. Why do you think? To me, it's a very hard thing to understand. Are they all just sitting in a room and saying, how can we actually keep these people so drugged up, so poisoned, so they're actually dying, so they got to spend more money in pharmaceuticals and whatnot? Like, is that what's actually happening? Or are they just trying to cut corners, cut costs, and as a result of that, they're using shittier products, they're using these things that are causing cancerous and all these side effects?
Well, there's two sides of this. If you ever watch the History Channel, they have a great series called The Food That Built America. And when you watch the history of, let's say, Kraft, Kraft macaroni and cheese, Kraft American cheese singles, the owner of Kraft didn't want to hurt people. He was trying to produce a product that had a stable shelf life so that people could have cheese.
Yeah.
And that people could have convenience. So he had no ill intent. He was trying to do something that he thought was good and make money in the process.
Yeah.
Now it turned out that it was bad. Okay, it's trans fats, clogs up your arteries, makes you depressed, screws up your hormones, makes you blow up like a balloon and get fat. Okay, but he didn't know that's what was happening. He was just trying to produce a product that he thought was convenient and get people to buy cheese that didn't go bad and didn't spoil.
Yeah.
So a lot of these people didn't have evil motives, they had profit motives. And they thought they were benefiting society by adding convenience and things that, society didn't have. And then there's the other side of the coin. And these are the people that are specifically doing things that they know are detrimental for control.
Yeah.
They want the masses subdued. And if you look throughout history, the people that are in the control positions want the masses subdued. They want the masses docile. They want the masses submissive.
Yes.
Basically easy to control. That way you don't have rebellion and things like that. And people in power stay in power. The British did this to the Chinese by getting everybody on opium.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Nazis did it in the ghettos. I mean, you had hundreds of thousands of people in the ghettos. You had a couple hundred Nazi guards. How come there wasn't an uprising? Because they became docile. Why? The Nazis put fluoride in the drinking water. So as the people were drinking water, the fluoride was reducing the thyroid, making people, the men, low in testosterone and making them very slow.
Yeah.
Today, the government puts soy in all the food, which increases estrogen and reduces testosterone, making guys much more docile. They do the same thing with high fructose corn syrup and all corn products. It's a genetically modified corn by Monsanto that was specifically designed to get cattle fat faster and make them docile. So now it's in virtually all of the food that we eat, and we wonder why we're tired and we don't have any drive or motivation and we don't want to fight back. Then you get guys who have a lot of testosterone, whether you like Trump or not, that's not the question.
Yeah.
This guy was shot. He was shot at, and he pushes the Secret Service away, jumps up and throws it and goes, fight, fight, fight.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is, okay, like him or not, and that's not the issue. The point is, what a son of a gun.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm with you.
He is going to, you push him, and his instinct, his drive, it's fight. And the people in power don't want somebody who will fight back.
No, I couldn't agree with you. Like, I'm just starting to learn this. Honestly, I feel like, I've been sleeping this entire time. And it was, and I don't want to bring it up, but it was with the whole Charlie Kirk thing. And I knew right away, I'm like, something's not adding up. So I actually just started doing not a lot of research. I wasn't actually even doing research of the whole murder because there was too many people doing that. I was doing more of the research of how do they control society? Like, if they want to do things and control, what are the things they do? So I started looking at the psyops playbook. People just go crazy when you say it. Psyops playbook is the playbook the freaking government's created. It's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. And when you read it, it's like very simple. The first thing they do is what? Division. Are we more divided than ever in this entire world that I've ever lived? Okay, you can't argue that. Like, can you argue that we're a divided country or divided world? We're just humans are divided on so many forefronts, which I think is actually really sad. But why? Because they want us to be. And then what do? They create chaos. How do they create chaos? Well, look at the headlines. They're not there to inform anymore. They're there to inflame. And then right when all the chaos is happening, what do? They give you the prescription. They say, "Oh, you want us to fix it? Okay, here's your vaccine. Here's your solve," which is the same thing they wanted from the beginning. So I'm with you, and I don't care. I'm loud about it now because I think people need to hear it. They need to hear it. But back then, when you were screaming this 20 years ago, nobody was listening. Like, people were not, like, they were scared of you.
Well, a lot of people were listening because my book sold 50 million copies. So they were, and I'll tell you what, that was the trigger. My book was the number one book, Natural Cures. They don't want you to know about. That book was the best-selling book Walmart ever had. When you walked into a Walmart store, there were like 10 pallets with hundreds and hundreds of books on it. And they were just blowing them out like crazy. They couldn't believe it. And the guy from Walmart called me and he says, Trudeau, we're really pissed off at you. Yes, we sold a lot of your books and made a lot of money, but because of your damn book, our customers are demanding organic food at Walmart. So we have to now put organic food in, which is a big hassle for us. McDonald's called me and said, it's because of you that our customers are demanding better quality product. We're going to have to bring something in. So we're bringing in Paul Newman organic salad dressing on their salads. Yeah. Because at least we're doing something. We don't sell a lot of salads, but at least that way we can say, oh yeah, we're doing, we have organic stuff here. Yeah. So it did make an impact, and it did wake up a lot of people. That book, Natural Cures, and of course, the Your Wish Is Your Command, woke up people to the fact that they do have power over their life. They can create the life they want if they use the same techniques that the privileged elite use.
So let's talk about that, because I think a lot of people that are listening here may have not listened to Your Wish Is Your Command. And we hear the secret, right? You can manifest, but there's a nuance there. And that's what I would love to get into more. So if someone, business owner or even anybody sitting there and they just heard you say, you can actually create your own power and actually get what you want. I love the example you always said, you can actually be your own genie, right? Mm-hmm. When you were writing that and when you were thinking about this, where did you see this before? Like, where did this come from? You talked about the Brotherhood. Like, were you part of a Brotherhood, or you just know it existed and you knew they were doing something?
No, back in 1969, when I was 6 years old, I was brought into an organization called the Brotherhood. It's a secret society. It's a real secret society because very few people have heard about it. Only a few people have ever talked about it. When you hear of secret societies, you think of the Freemasons, you think maybe of Skull and Bones, Bohemian Grove, Bilderberg Group. Well, they're not so secret because you know all about them, right? I mean, the president of the United States, both of them, both Bushes, were members of Skull and Bones.
Yes, they were. Yeah.
So was John Kerry. And they said, hey, I joined Skull and Bones, they call it a secret society. So secret, that's all I can say about it.
Yeah.
And then, we have Bohemian Grove where Reagan was and Kissinger, and I was there too, and others. And nobody will talk about what goes on behind, in that grove in California. Bilderberg Group, you see me coming out of the building. So, in Rawtuckegan at Sea Hotel, it's like, there's Trudeau, with Kissinger, it's like, he's there. Okay, what goes on behind it? So there are secret societies, but the Brotherhood is a very unique one because it's almost a little bit sci-fi because the Brotherhood takes people with natural abilities. We'll call it mental abilities, or you could call it psychic abilities. And it trains you on how to use your mind and how to use those abilities, and then uses the people who they've trained for their purposes. And their purpose is to better mankind. That's arguable. That's why I left.
Okay, I was going to say, you're clearly not, I don't think you're part of this anymore because you wouldn't be talking about this. Yeah.
Yeah, I rose to the top ranks. I went through all the training. I released my abilities fully, and I left the organization. And I was the only person to ever leave the group. And the reason I'm still alive is for several years before I left, Kissinger was a member, and he was a friend of mine. Gorbachev was a member. He was a friend of mine. I have pictures of all of us traveling around the world together. They're on my website, so people know that it's, this is the real deal. But when I left, I had a fail-safe that I set up globally. And if anything happened to me, I got accidentally hit by a bus, or if I got struck by lightning,
this would all come out.
Everything was going to be let out. And so that's the only reason, quite frankly, I'm still here. They're still trying to shut me up.
Yeah.
They tried that by putting me in prison for 10 years.
Yeah.
They tried it by shutting down all my bank accounts. Why is it you have a bank for 20 years, you put $1 billion and $2 billion through it, and then they call you and go, oh, you get a letter. We're closing your account. Why? We can't tell you.
Yeah.
Of course I know why, because the Brotherhood said, let's try to wipe him out financially, or at least stop him from operating.
Yeah.
So we can silence him.
So what did we learn? I mean, we talk about it obviously in the book. We can't, teach it all on one podcast. But if I were to say like some of the most powerful things you learned in that whole time there, when it comes to mindset and being able to be the genie of your own life, like what were some of the powerful lessons or tools that people can just start thinking about, or even trying and implement?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple of them right here. There's actually, we learned an algorithm. And this is before the word algorithm was used. And it's numerical. And so it had 40 points in it, and each of the points got a numerical value. And depending on how good you were at that particular point in the algorithm would determine what the numerical value is. And then you added it up. And then some of it's a formula. So that's, times this, plus this, times that. And then you have a number. And based on that number will determine your ability to virtually manifest your reality, or create what you want, or set a goal and achieve it. One of the things that is in that algorithm is a person has to dream big. Now, think about this. This is what most people do. And this had just happened to me 6 months ago. Okay. I'm in a friend of mine's house in Beverly Hills. It's a $35 million mansion right above the Beverly Hills Hotel. Gorgeous. Actually, it's probably cost more than $50 million today.
Yeah.
He bought it for 35. So it's this gorgeous mansion, and he lets me stay there. So I'm staying there, and I had some friends over, and I said, we should get a plane. We should get like a Challenger 350. So I think it's a $50 million plane. And one of the people there said, oh, when we have the money, then we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And I said, that's the point. That's what losers do. What you have to do is when you don't have the money, then you start dreaming big, because that's the only way that the universe is going to put money into your life. What most people do is they have dreams, but they don't even look at their dreams anymore. What they do is they look at their income and they go, I make this much money. What can I do? And the amount of money they make determines their ability to think or imagine or dream. That's not what wealthy people do. In order to expand your field, expand your capability, to get things off the radar screen, to start coming into your life, to open up the windows of heaven if you're a Christian and have blessings come in, what you have to do is you have to dream big. Scripturally, it says a man without a vision will perish. A man without a dream will die. You have to dream big. So you have to think really big. There's a great book that I recommend everybody read called The Magic of Thinking Big.
Yeah.
You have to think big. Yeah. Now, doesn't mean you live in a dream world. I was
going to say there's a nuance here, right? Like,
here's the nuance. The nuance is some people are delusional.
Okay.
So they live in a dream world. You have to have a dream, but you can't live in a dream world. So after you dream, then you look at your current situation and you go to work. On what's the next logical step?
Yeah.
What's the next step? What's the next goal that I can hit? Okay, I dream big, but now I'm coming back to earth. But by dreaming big, I expanded myself, right? It's like stretching a rubber band. And now I said, okay, I make 100 grand a year. I'm going to make 150.
Yeah.
And now you set your next target. Well, if you make 150, you can't buy that plane, but it's a step closer, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to dream, but then you come back to your current situation and you set your goal or target or objective or chief aim as the next logical step.
The chief aim.
And you shoot for that. And you work like a dog to get that done. And as you start getting there, you start going back to your dream and then go back to work. You visit the dream and come back to work. You visit the dream and come back to work. And most people don't dream at all, or they're delusional. They live in a dream world.
Meaning, and I just want to, when you say they live in the dream world, they can dream big, but then they just don't do anything.
They don't do anything. They sit in front of the TV. I'm going to use the law of attraction and just think about my dreams. Yeah. I got my vision board and and I'm a billionaire and I'm a billionaire and I'm a billionaire. Look, successful people are always too busy doing what the other guys are still talking about.
Yeah. Okay. I love that one. Yeah. So why do you think why do you think these people who can, and I think there's an authentic way, because you haven't gone deeper in that, but like, correct me if I'm wrong. There's a way to think or dream big. And there's a way to dream big where you actually feel it. Like you feel it in your soul. You feel it in your bones. Like it actually changes you, almost like physiology changes and dopamine's released because you actually can believe it to be true. You believe you're worthy of it.
Yes. That's a different step.
Oh.
So dreaming is one step. So you don't have to believe you can achieve your dream. As a matter of fact, your dream should be so big that
they scare you, right?
You think there's no way it could happen. So you don't have to believe in the dream or you attaining your dream just by dreaming. Go look at the super yacht that's $200 million. Go look at the plane. Go look at the big $10, $20 million mansions. And you're thinking, there's no way I'll ever get this. You can say that, but you're still changing because you're still expanding. That's the dream.
Okay.
But then you use the magic word, belief. And actually, it's a better word is competence. Now, when you set your target of what you're shooting for, your goal, you do have to have confidence that you will achieve it. Now, there was a great book, came out in 1959, I think it was 1959, called The Magic of Believing.
Okay.
Now, did you ever hear of a guy named Liberace?
Yeah.
Okay. So Liberace was this piano player.
Yeah.
And he wore all these rings and very flamboyant. He was a nobody, and he actually wasn't a very good piano player. He didn't know how to play properly, so he would like move his hand the wrong way when he was playing. But he had a nice smile, a handsome guy, but he wasn't making it. And then he read a book called The Magic of Believing. And within 1 year, he became the most well-known entertainer in the world. He had a TV show, Liberace show. He went from virtually zero to the most famous person on the planet in the entertainment world. And we found the video clip of him on his show holding up that book. He goes, it's because of this book, The Magic of Believing.
Yeah.
That because it made all the difference. And he goes, and there's a song called The Magic of Believing. Let me play it for you. And he plays this song. But he was saying, this is the book that changed my life. And you can't believe that you're going to achieve this $20 million mansion when you're making $100,000 a year. But you can believe or have confidence and feel as if you were achieving $150,000 a year.
Yeah.
See, that's not too steep a gradient.
Yeah.
It's a logical step. Hey, I have confidence and I can see myself making 150 and I can feel now as if I were, and I can actually see myself. So that's where you get visceral. That's where you bring that in.
Okay. I'm getting like, oh my, like, I was like, am I having flashbacks? And I'm like, yeah, because you're speaking to the freaking author of all of this. Cause I actually don't remember now if this was in your wish and your command, but there was a thing. Well, I've lived my life since I've learned this for many years. Is like, there's setting your goals. And when you think about them, if they're like too out there and they're too scary and they're too outside, it's good. They're hard to achieve. And then there's goals where they're in that sweet spot where like, yeah. They scare you a little bit. They get you going a little bit. They put the hairs up. I'm getting hairs up right now thinking about it. I'm not lying. And you're like, okay, I'm going to work. I can work there. And then that's your new normal. And then you kind of keep going.
Right.
I believe, I'll just end this because I know you got gold to say. I believe the problem we have today, and I would love to hear your thoughts later on this, is like, it's not that we shoot our goals so high and miss. It's actually we shoot so low and achieve. And
well, people don't dream big. Again, if you look at people, and I've interviewed lots of people, I've talked to a lot of people around the world who are struggling, and they come to me, and I'll bump into them in an airport. I'll sit next to them on a plane or whatever. People come up to me at restaurants all the time. Can I grab you for one minute? I don't want to interrupt your dinner. And I'm very cordial and I'm very appreciative and humbled by the fact that they're coming up to me and they recognize me, maybe read something that I've done, maybe watch my podcast on Rumble or YouTube or something, or Spotify or Apple, whatever they saw me on. So I'm very humbled and appreciative. The two things that happen with almost everybody that I meet, either A, they're not dreaming big enough, they've never dreamed at all, or B, they live in a delusionary world. They live in that dream. They live in that delusionary dream world. So dreaming is just one of the 40 things. You have to expand the dream. But then you have to set your target. And as you mentioned the word sweet spot, because you listen to your wishes, your command, you know the word.
Is that what it was? I mean,
it is sweet spot.
It is sweet spot.
It is sweet spot.
Yeah.
So you set your goal, you set what you're shooting to achieve. That's your target. The target has to be in the sweet spot. And the sweet spot is something that's big enough to excite you.
Yes,
but small enough so that you can actually achieve it. It's not unattainable, but it's big enough to get your juices going, but it's small enough where you go, I can do that. And that's the sweet spot. That's not the dream. When you go dream building, when you're going down Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills and you're looking at all this stuff, none of that stuff's in the sweet spot. But you have to do that exercise, that process of dream building, which is building a dream, expanding your power to imagine and be creative. You're expanding that. But then you go back to what's my goal? What's my target? What am I going to shoot for that's big enough to excite me, but small enough that I know I can achieve it?
Yeah.
And then you work on that. Then the universe will give you the method, will give you the how, will present to you the steps in order to do that.
Are we getting to that 95% is thinking and 5%? Are we getting that talk right there? You're smiling because
a little bit, yeah, because we have what's called the training balance scale.
The training balance scale, that's what it was. Yes,
that's it, the training balance scale. Yeah, you're right on the money.
Yeah,
it's the how is on one side and the thinking is on the other. So the action steps are over here.
Yeah,
the techniques, the methods, the strategies, the things you specifically have to do. The how, and then on this side is the thinking. It's the dream. It's your attitude. A lot of people, for example, crypto is a big thing today. And people come up to me and said, hey, you bought crypto at $1. Yes.
You did.
And you still have it. Yes. I bought a lot of crypto at $1. I was involved in the Brotherhood, and we knew that crypto was something you should buy. And actually, I was told to buy it when it was 50 cents. I waited to $1. And I thought, oh man, I missed out. And they said, no, just hold it for 10 years. You'll be very happy. So they said, listen, you know about crypto. I don't have insider insider people that, can give me that type of advice. So how do I make money in crypto? How do I trade it? How? And I say, forget about the how. Your attitude sucks. You don't have the right attitude. Unless you get the right attitude, even if you do exactly what I tell you to do, it's not going to produce results. You have to have the attitude first for the how, for the strategy, for the technique that you do to actually produce results. There was a great book called Karmic Management. It's a small little book, relatively new, maybe in the last 10 years it came out. But it's excellent, which talks about this in great detail, how attitude creates a vibration, a frequency, which then means when you do an action, you actually get results. Guthy-Renker Corporation. Do you remember them? They produced Tony Robbins infomercials, proactive infomercials.
Okay.
Multi-billion-dollar company started by Greg Renker and Bill Guthy. Two spectacular guys, wonderful guys. They were the biggest infomercial company in the world in terms of sales. I had probably the most profit. They came to me and they said, Kevin, we took one of your infomercials. We scripted it.
Yeah.
We took exactly the words and transcribed it. We got a guy who looked exactly like you, and we dressed him exactly like you. We built a set that looks exactly like your set. We lit it exactly the same. We got an interviewer who looked exactly like the interviewer in your show. We had the exact same. We did a complete knockoff. It was identical. If you showed them side by side, you wouldn't know which was the real one with me and which one was theirs. It was identical. They said, how come ours didn't work? And I said, well, there's a secret that I'm not going to tell you until I'm retired from the infomercial business. And they had a wristband they used to wear in their company that said, what would Kevin do? Wow. Because they couldn't figure out what I was doing.
Now, have you said what it is? Am I going to be able to get
Yes, I've said what it is. And what it was is my energy, was different. My attitude was different. They were trying to make money. I was trying to help people with the product. I actually believed in the product. I actually used the product. So my energy was completely different. Therefore, the action that I did produced results. Their energy wasn't, and therefore the action that they did, even though it was identical, didn't produce results.
So I was going to even ask, I was going to go even deeper there, because they actually did the same thing. Like realistically, they did the same thing. So it wasn't even about the actions they were taking, because they basically followed your actions. But I think, and please, I want to go deeper in this, there is that thing on top of those actions, which you say is the energy. But the energy is I say you're a direct reflection of the results you get, right? So that energy that you're producing, even through a screen, even just through audio, there's a vibration that happens that is either people are feeling it or they're not. The universe believes in it because you're completely in alignment or you're not. And that's the nuance that Kevin, I'm still trying to figure out and fight towards, because I know I think there's a point where you have to surrender. I'm starting to realize in the belief.
Yeah, we were trained at length in this in the Brotherhood of how to use the mind, how to actually change the frequency. There are machines right now. You can put a helmet on, and it'll monitor your brainwave frequency. And I would go into these clinics and I would say, let's test my brain, and they'd say, okay, yeah, we want to see if you're in beta or theta or delta or whatever. Okay, and I says, okay, which one you want me to go in? They go, what do you mean? I goes, well, I can control that. And I go, let me go into gamma, and the machine would go into gamma. They're going. I go, okay, let me drop down to theta. I go, let me move up right below alpha. And they're like, how the hell are you doing that? And I go, well, it took 30 years of training. I go, it's like a kung fu master, it takes all this time to become a grand master. It takes a lot of training with the brain. But when you have the ability to broadcast a frequency from your brain is a receiver and broadcaster of frequency. That's proven by science. So if you control your brain waves, when you put out a frequency on what's called the billionaire brainwave or the wealth wave, which is right in between the bottom of alpha and the top of theta, it's right in that little band. If I can put a desire, a picture, a mental image picture of what I want, Rolex watch, diamond ring, Rolls Royce, Bentley, it goes out into the universe and actually affects matter. And again, quantum physics knows this is true now. That's how you create. And then the universe starts actually moving everything around to actually create into your life what you're broadcasting. There's an old phrase that says, as within, so without.
Yeah.
Or the world is simply a reflection of you, of what's inside you.
Yeah.
And this is the whole point. It really is true. People don't want to do this. This is another step in the algorithm, by the way. It's called responsibility. And this is where I lose everybody. Everybody hangs the phone up. They don't want to talk to them anymore because they don't want, it's like they want to hear it's not your fault. Well, guess what? It is now, it isn't your fault because you don't know.
Yes. There's ignorance.
So I'm going to tell everybody, if you don't have what you want in life, it isn't your fault because the truth has been hidden from you. The other side of the coin is once you can start taking more responsibility for everything in your life, that's when things will change. It's the 5-second miracle. When you say, well, I'm struggling financially. I'm in so much debt. I'm in so much debt. Okay. Who put you in debt?
Yeah.
Who used the credit card?
Yeah.
Who spent money you didn't have? It wasn't me.
Yeah.
Okay. It was you. You're the one who spent more money than you made.
Oh, but you don't get it, Kevin. Kevin, you don't get it. You don't get it. Like you don't understand how hard it is. The bills. You just don't understand, Kevin. Like I got kids. Like I'm trying. Everything's too expensive.
You live above your means. Your house is too big. I mean, people just they don't want to take responsibility.
So let's talk about that because part of my podcast is going deep on stuff. Why do people not want to take responsibility? Why do you think?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's real simple. The system is designed to make you feel like you're a victim.
Yeah.
I just did a documentary and one of the interviews was about this. It's called Kevin Trudeau Classified, where this investigative reporter was asking me about my involvement in the Brotherhood. And I decided to reveal a lot of stuff about the control mechanisms that are being used behind the scenes by the privileged elite and those people in secret societies and things. And one of the things was, if I can get you to feel like you're a victim, you become helpless and hopeless. You have a feeling of hopelessness. If I can make you feel like there's no hope, I got you, baby. I can now control you.
Yeah.
And if I can feel like you're a victim where you don't take responsibility, I can control you. It's beautiful. But if you actually feel like you're empowered, that you have cause over your environment instead of being an effect from everything around you. If you feel like if it is to be, it's up to me.
Yeah.
I can do anything. With God, all things are possible.
Yeah, no,
I can do all things through, God who works through me. I mean, if you start quoting scripture, if you're a Christian and you start empowering yourself and you start saying, I can do it. Henry Ford said, if you think you can, or if you think you can't, either way, you're right.
Yeah.
It's the thinking that makes it so. Les Brown, my good friend, the motivational speaker, always used to say, it ain't over, baby, until I win.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
Or Winston Churchill, his famous speech, never quit.
Yeah.
I mean, if you start feeling that, I can't control you. You're empowered.
Okay. So let's go deep here. I love this because how many times do people go to a certain person's conference where they get tapped on the ass a little bit? I'm not a fan of it. Tapped on the ass, make you try to feel good for 3 days for 24 hours in freezing cold. And they come home and they're like, yeah, my life's going to change. And as we know, not even a week later, they're back to their regular self.
Yeah. If you want to feel really warm and fuzzy, a warm bath will do that, but it's not going to last.
No.
And unless I get to the root cause of what is causing your issue and then have you become aware of it, if you are not aware, if you have no awareness, okay?
Yes.
I'll give you a story. I was doing a little lecture on the book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Everybody should read that book because I haven't met a person recently who actually has those skills anymore, interpersonal skills. Yeah. It's like they don't get it, right? So I gave this little lecture to a group of people. And one of the things I said is Dale Carnegie points out that God gave you 2 ears and one mouth, and you should use them proportionally. So when you're meeting somebody, if you want to get them to like you, ask questions and listen more than you talk, because everyone's favorite subject is themselves. And people like to talk about themselves. And if you get them to talk about themselves, they'll like you. If you want to be interesting, be interested. So I gave this whole lecture about talking less and listening more. And I said, use the 6 honest serving men and use them till you die. They are what, when, where, who, how, and why. Ask questions. So I gave this big lecture and everyone's nodding. Yeah, that makes sense and so forth. We go to dinner. I'm sitting at the dinner and the table next to me, there's a guy over there and I hear him talking. He's kind of a loud voice. And I hear him talking and I hear him talking and I hear him talking and I'm eating my steak and he never stopped talking. He never stopped talking the entire night. It was like he had one long run-on sentence. I'm like, how did he even eat his food? Yeah. And I'm looking over and there's nothing touched on his plate because he's talking. Everyone else is eating dessert. He still got a steak. And I'm like going, this guy has zero awareness.
Yeah. Is that emotional
because I just gave a lecture on this.
Would you call that emotional intelligence though, right?
I call it stupidity.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
I mean, seriously, the guy, look, he's not aware. He's asleep. He's in a trance. He has no self-awareness. You know, when you think about it, to thine own self be true, right? Know thyself.
Yes.
William Shakespeare. It's so true.
Now, it's interesting because you're saying he's not aware. And I would say he's probably not aware, and he probably has anxiety he doesn't realize, and he maybe, or like ego or something. There's something going on where silence scares him.
It starts with awareness, because when I talked to that guy, I says, do you think you talk a lot? And he said, no. I mean, that's what I knew that's what he was going to say. Because I had a group of people that were all saying, I can't believe how much this guy talks. Everyone noticed it. Yeah. And I said, well, he's not aware of it. Well, he has to be. I go, watch. So I walked over and said, how you doing? I says, by the way, do you think you talk a lot? No.
Yeah.
He had no awareness that he talked all night long.
Zero self-awareness. But that couldn't be the first time he's heard that. There's no way.
And if people brought it up, he still thinks they're crazy.
He's not listening. Yeah.
He's not aware. He's in a trance. And you could say, well, what's causing that? Well, that's a whole nother discussion, because there's an energetic imprint that's in his memory that's keying in. And it basically is giving him an uncontrollable and irrational action. This happens with emotions. People have uncontrollable and irrational emotions. I have a glass of water here and I spill it. God damn it. Oh, Jesus Christ, I can't believe I just spilled it. It's like, calm down. It's a glass of water.
Yeah.
And it's okay. But you've seen that, right?
Yeah.
Somebody has a little thing happen and they just lose it. They have an uncontrollable and irrational emotion. Hey, if you're watching, have this ever happened to you? Do you ever say something and go, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that? Well, why did you say it?
Yeah. You had an uncontrollable emotion, right?
Because it was an uncontrollable and irrational reaction.
Yeah.
So what causes the uncontrollable and irrational reactions or thoughts or emotions? There's an energetic imprint with that energy that's in your memory that keys in or activates or comes to surface. Sometimes we call it, he pushed your buttons.
Yeah.
Right? He pushed your button. He really pushes my buttons, man. Man, he really pushes my buttons. Okay, good. That means that guy controls you. Yeah. So I can look at somebody and I can see their buttons and I go, this is okay. I can push your buttons and then I control you like a puppet on a string. Well, that's what the elites do. They implant, if you will, buttons. And now they use, as you talked about earlier in the show, fear. Yeah. There was also a word that you called chaos. I would say conflict.
Conflict. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Conflict. Great. Division.
So conflict creates chaos, creates fear. Yeah. And that pushes a button. So I can use, and you said it right at the beginning of the show, you can use a headline to push people's buttons. Yeah. And now you control them and you give them irrational, uncontrollable emotions. I have a good friend of mine who's an ultra left-wing liberal.
Okay.
hates Donald Trump, hates anything to do with Republicans or red states or anybody who's red or even thinks about being red. And I have another friend who is the exact opposite. I mean, super ultra conservative Christian, born again Christian, right wing, kind of like a Charlie Kirk, right? Okay. So there, I bring him to my house and we're having dinner. These are two incredibly rational people that have worked with me, and they don't have these engrams and samskaras anymore. These energetic imprints. Samskara is the Sanskrit word which talks about it. And they start having a intellectual discussion about politics. And it was stimulating and it was very civil.
Yeah.
And afterwards they're talking about football, laughing, having a good time. It was beautiful. And I wish I had it on camera because I was thinking, this is how it should be. You can have two people with diametrically opposed political beliefs and opinions who have a rational civil discussion. And at the end, sit down, grab a beer and watch the football game.
Yeah.
And enjoy each other's company. And then say, next time we're going to have this debate even more. And they both laugh and they give each other a hug and off you go.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Well, I think,
right?
I think it's actually really beautiful. I mean, this world lost that. Like, we don't even do I would say, a quarter of that. But that's what we started to show off and kind of went into is they want that, though. They don't want us to have a civilized conversation. They want us sick. They want our heads poisoned. They want us, the lithium they're putting in us, like you're saying, all this stuff to keep us low, killing the testosterone. And controlling us. So I was going to ask the question because I'm growing into it, right? I'm learning it. It's a process, right? I'm seeing it. I've always believed in the power of all of that. But how do you, with so much bullshit, like the headlines, for instance, just constant headlines, and you see it and you're like, I can see it. I know what they're doing. I'm not going to let it affect you, but it's still subconsciously, like, it creeps in there and like it can control you. I see it myself, and then I got to shake my head. I kind of, you shake your head and go, whoa, got to get back on track. How do you get it to a point where it doesn't, kind of in and out, right?
So imagine you're watching TV, right? And you have one of the old clickers, to change the channel, and you are watching something that you hate and it's absolutely horrible. What do? A lot of people say they change the channel.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's the second best answer. Actually, that's the first best answer. Most people say they'll shut it off.
Yeah. Just shut it off.
So you're watching TV. It's something you don't like. People say, I'll shut it off. That's the second best answer. The best answer is you change the channel. Yeah. You put something else on. Yeah. So because we're being inundated with negative messages, and actually messages that are very, very specifically designed to have a negative effect on you, because we're inundated. Okay, well, I don't look at those messages. I have one television in my house, and I use it to watch either Turner Classic Movies, black and white, the History Channel. I'll tell you what I watch. Like The Men Who Built America, The Food That Built America. I kind of like those series. But I have the TV there, and I can go on the app as well. And I watch some football. Yeah. And I'll probably watch the World Series maybe.
What's your thoughts on the football? And they say sports are there to actually they're designed to actually control the nation and distract us and all of that. What's your thoughts behind that?
Well, all activities that get you into conflict, right?
Oh,
so Alabama, Georgia, right?
For sure.
Or Auburn and Alabama, right? You have these rivalries. Hey,
Michigan, Notre Dame, right?
I grew up in Boston. Those damn Yankees. Right? They got Babe Ruth. We never liked them. Yeah. So you have this conflict. So it's either a real hatred or conflict that is there, another way to develop conflict, or it's fun. Hey, I shoot pool. I play with one of my best friends, Mike Siegel. He's the 10-time world champion, greatest player who ever lived, greatest living player in the world. Comes over the house, and I want to beat him. Yeah. And this is a conflict, right?
Yeah.
And I don't beat him very often, but I try to beat him, and I'm bearing down, and I'm trying to get in his head and go, you can't make that ball, and it's fun. I mean, you're having a good time. So you can do things like that and enjoy the game as long as you know you're playing the game.
Okay.
So imagine that you are an actor and you are hired to perform on stage, and your role is to be the evil villain and kill the other person. Okay. You're an actor.
Yeah.
And you know you're an actor. And at the end, you and that person that you just killed on stage going for dinner.
Yeah.
Right. So most people, though, in life forget that this is the play of consciousness.
Yeah.
That life is a game, that life is a play of consciousness. And we're all really one. And if you just lighten up a little bit and just step back a little bit and be more of an observer of your life and a witness of your life and enjoy the game that you're in, and then afterwards go and have a dinner with the person, life can be beautiful.
I love that you said consciousness, because it just triggered in Your Wish Is Your Command. You talk about unconscious, conscious, unconscious, right? There's 4 of them. Correct me if I'm right or wrong. Right?
You're right. And this is what you just asked me earlier. It's like, listen, this is a process. I'm going through the Your Wish Is Your Command audio program. By the way, I just came out with a brand new book. It's off the presses as of yesterday. It's already being called the Think and Grow Rich of our time. It's absolutely amazing. It takes the audio from Your Wish Is Your Command that I recorded 25 years ago in the Swiss Alps with 100 people that paid $50,000 just to be there. I took all those audio transcripts and I wrote the book, and it is nothing like it. It is so complete and systematic and step by step by step of what you do. But even if you read the book or if you go through the audios like you do, how does that become part of you?
Yes.
Becoming part of you is a stage, as you know, because you listen to Your Wish Is Your Command, that I was taught called unconscious competence.
Yeah, that's it.
It's when you do it automatically. You don't think about it anymore. You get in your car and you're thinking about 10 things, and then you pull into your driveway and you think, how the hell did I get home?
Yeah.
I don't even remember driving.
Yeah. That's
right. Because you were doing it unconsciously. You were competent of driving and you were unconsciously competent. You did it unconsciously. If I say to somebody, how do you tie a shoelace? I can't tell you, but can you tie your shoelace? Yeah. Because you do it unconsciously. You're competent at tying the shoelace, but you do it unconsciously. You're unconscious competence. So how do you get there? You go through the 4 stages. One is unconscious incompetence. Yeah. This is what most people are in. They're in a trance. They're not aware. They're incompetent and they're unconsciously incompetent. Unconscious incompetence. They don't know that they don't know. When they start learning about things like this or anything, you get to conscious incompetence. Now you know how dumb you are, right? Now you know that you're like, oh boy, now I know that I'm taking all these poisons and I'm being manipulated and all this stuff. Now you know you're consciously incompetent. Then you start applying technique. Now you get to a point called conscious competence. You have some level of competence. I kind of know how to tie the shoe, but I got to think about it. I'd say right over left, left over right, because you're not unconscious yet. You're still consciously competent. And you have to be consciously competent for a period of time before it becomes a habit.
Yeah. And is that
then you're unconsciously competent. Then you just do it automatically.
In habits, not 30 days. They've changed that, right?
No. The habit is varied because especially in today's world, especially in this genre, we're talking about personal development or anything like that, because you're being bombarded with counterintention messages, it's going to take a longer, and you have to use stronger willpower to go from conscious competence to unconscious competence, where you do it automatically. Yeah. Look, so a disaster happens in our company. Somebody calls up and says, oh, we just got a lawsuit in. I go, good. First thing that comes out of my mouth, good. And you can hear it. It's like, good. I want to fight whoever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's instant. It's automatic. Yeah. I don't go, oh no. Yeah. Oh no. It's like somebody's filed a lawsuit. Good. I mean, it's just like, I'd love a fight. Yeah. I haven't fought somebody in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go. What's it all about anyways?
Yeah.
Oh, some clown filed a lawsuit against you and Michael Jackson because you were together in Neverland Ranch. This actually happened.
Oh,
And blah, 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 blah. And I go,
it's not happening now.
No, this was when Michael was alive.
Yeah.
But I remember this specifically.
Yeah.
And I mean, the lawsuit got dismissed and thrown out within nanoseconds because the guy was completely insane. Then he went to the mental institution. I mean, he was not a normal person. He was suing me and Michael we never met the guy. But anyway, it was a joint lawsuit. But I remember that very specifically. And the guys who were with me when that happened, they said, "Why did you say good?" And I go, "It's a habit. Because I handle things. I confront things. And it's a habit. And it's my instinct now. It's who I am. This is the level of competency I have with my mental capability.
Yeah.
Because I don't look at things as good or bad. I look at them as challenges or opportunities or situations.
Yeah.
And I just handle them. And I know I can handle them. And I love the challenges. I love these type of situations. And therefore the universe doesn't throw me issues anymore. It's like, this guy's going to fight back. Let's just relax. Leave him alone.
It's so funny. You just stop me in my tracks, because I was just about to say the universe does not give to you what can't flow through you, but that's not actually the truth. The truth was that we just said is the universe is not giving you anything because you're not looking at the challenge. You're not looking at it as a big challenge or whatever it is. You're looking at, like you said, you're playing the game. It is every day.
Playing the game.
Every day. There's an up, there's a down. It's how we deal with it.
So there's a phrase, and it says, the universe doesn't do things to us. It does things for us.
Yeah.
So remember, whatever is coming into our life, we've created that somehow.
Yeah.
So I take responsibility for this. And why did that come in? Maybe that came in so that the people around me, when that happened, when that phone call happened, saw me in action. And maybe they said, wow, that's how I'm going to handle things going forward. So maybe the universe presented this opportunity, not for me per se, but to work through me for the other people so that they could see how you handle adversity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So I don't have to get into all the reasons, or we don't have to theorize of all the reasons why that was a good situation. But it was a good one. I talked to Michael again, and
things happen.
Laughed about it.
Again, things happen for a reason. I learned another concept of the consciousness, the conscious levels, right? So first level is like the to me, someone to me level. That's the victim. Everything happens to me. So when the water falls, like you said, it's not just, the water falls. This always happens to me. Everyone's against me, right? And that's just a very low level of conscious. Those are the people that are, unfortunately, that are being sickened every single day, mentally, physically, by the foods we're eating, by the media that they're watching. The second layer, I was told, which is the buy me. You said that earlier. This is the buy me conscious, where it's the water dropped. It was because of me. I'm going to run and get the towel, and I'm going to make sure it's fixed up because I have to take action. The third level, which I'm trying to get to, I got to be honest, where I'm at, right, is it all happens through me. The water fell. There was a reason for it. We'll clean it up when I need to clean it up. And then there's the monk level. I call it the monk level, which is the as me. So through me, everything happens through me. And then the as me is probably the highest level, which is it all happens for a reason. And I'm just a vessel of the message. I could talk forever. I think it's super important we talk a little bit about your supplement company, because part of all of this, part of being able to have the strong mind, I think part of being able to dream and to be able to be in that sweet spot, it also is an indication of the foods we're eating, how we're feeling, and what we're putting, what we're fueling in our bodies. Because what we've learned now, hopefully I'm not wrong on this, the actual real brain is the gut. Your gut actually controls the brain. And if that's the truth, that means everything we put into our gut is controlling the main thing that's projecting the energy. So I'd love to talk about why. I just want to understand why we live in a world, or I live in my world, where I know food's bad for you, oils are bad for you, all this shit, processed food's bad for you. Why are people still lining out at McDonald's? Why are they feeding their money that they don't have to a foundation that is killing people?
It's the same reason people smoke cigarettes and can't quit. Listen, the nicotine addiction lasts 24 hours. So there's no physical addiction to the cigarette after 24 hours. And somebody says, BS.
No.
I'm telling you, I have to smoke. I go, yeah, it's psychological addiction because of the programming. You go back to movies. Big Tobacco, when they first came out, nobody could smoke cigarettes because it was like, I mean, it was horrible. Because remember, there was no filters.
Yeah.
So you had non-filter cigarettes and people were just like, I can't smoke this. This was horrible. So they said, let's get people psychologically addicted, because people back in the day when they smoked, turn of the century, people quit very easily because the nicotine addiction only lasts 24 hours. There was no connection with coolness, manliness, or anything else, or pleasure psychologically through programming. And then a magic thing happened in the movies.
Yeah.
A guy is in front of the firing squad and they ask him, any last requests? A cigarette. The last thing this guy wants on earth is not sex, not a steak, is a cigarette.
Yeah.
The last thing he wants, because it was paid to put in there. And all of the programming in the movies and art and so forth is so powerful that unless you deprogram that, you can't quit the cigarette. So in the same manner that was done, that's how fast food is done. You have Olympic athletes
that's still
eating McDonald's.
Yeah.
Really, time out. I think this is called fraudulent advertising and misleading advertising.
Yeah.
You're an Olympic athlete.
Yeah.
You've been training for the Olympics. I guarantee you didn't go to McDonald's 5 days a week as part of your training routine to win the gold medal. So why are you trying to get the kids to believe that if you want to be an Olympic athlete, you got to go to McDonald's?
Oh.
And back in the day, we had Ronald McDonald and the Grimace and the Hamburglar. And this is beyond people's comprehension. This type of mind control advertising actually stemmed from the CIA. And I know this because I was involved in I was in the room when we used to have lasers showing on the screen where a person's eyes were looking based on the ad. And we know what was happening in the brain. So we would design ads to basically put you in a trance, into a hypnotic state, so that we could implant things in your brain and then virtually control you with a beep. Wow. Just like a hypnotist. I mean, so this is why people go to McDonald's. Look, I'll tell you a quick story. Vodka. Back in 1960, the number one spirit consumed in America was gin. And every gin was different because they have all these botanicals. It actually has taste, by the way. And a martini, if you ask for martini, there was one way to make a martini. Only one. Gin, vermouth, ice, and it was stirred. Had to be stirred, not shaken like a maniac, stirred. And then poured into a glass with 2 olives. Yeah. That's a martini. If you ask for a dry martini, they use just a little vermouth. And if you ask for an extra dry martini, it had no vermouth. Yeah. Last night I went to the restaurant and I said, I'd like a martini. Great. I said, how do you make it? She goes, just gin. I go, what would you give me if I asked for an extra dry martini then? She's like, huh? I said, a martini has vermouth in it. I didn't ask for an extra dry martini. I asked for a martini. And a martini has vermouth in it. If I wanted no vermouth, I would ask for an extra dry martini. She goes, you're a jerk. I go, I'm kidding. I'm going to give you a big tip. Don't worry about it. So nobody bought vodka is the point. People drank gin martinis. It was the number one spirit in America. Like 10 people were drinking vodka because vodka has no taste.
Here's the funny thing. Yeah, go on, because I know
I got to finish the story. You're gonna love it. Smirnoff, a company that sold vodka, said, "How are we going to sell vodka? How are we going to get people to drink this? It doesn't have any taste." And the guy said, "In the same way that tobacco got people to smoke cigarettes, advertising in the movies, product placement." There's a movie coming out with this spy, this from Britain. And I think it's called James Bond, I think it is. Yeah. Dr. No. Let's get him to drink the vodka. And let's get him to order a drink that doesn't exist. It'll be super cool. He'll order a vodka martini, which there is no such thing. And he'll order it shaken instead of stirred like it's supposed to be. And people will freak out because they'll think, what the hell's a vodka martini? And why is he shaking it? I want to be like James Bond. I want to order the same thing. And then we'll have him pour Smirnoff into his glass at the end of the day, hold it to his head and go, so relaxing. They did that. Within 2 years, vodka became the number one spirit in America. And the number one drink ordered at the bar was, guess what? A vodka martini, shaken, not stirred.
Yeah.
That's the power of advertising in the movies and influencing people through media.
I was going to say, just to add to that, now when I went to the bar and a couple of weeks ago, whatever, and ordered one for my wife, and she loves a real martini, a gin martini. So I said, can I get an extra, I said, can I get a martini, extra olives, right? He starts reaching for the vodka. I said, no, gin. He goes, martinis are vodka. I'm like, no, man, gin is the real martini, not vodka. So it's so changed that people don't even know the essence of what an actual real martini is. But, we're talking about one drink. Think about everything. And I wanted to bring back something because I totally agree. I never knew. I love the science about nicotine's only 24 hours. I'm always curious when people quit smoking. And I always ask, when people authentically quit smoking, it's not the patch, it's not hypno, it's not some shot, it's nothing. I asked them, what was it? They said, and I call it identity. They just said, I decided I'm not a smoker anymore. Not I'm a smoker who's trying to quit. I'm not a smoker. Like their identity shifted, done, immediate, never again, not an addiction.
Right. The number one method of quitting, which I think has close to a 90% success rate, is Alan Carr, Easy Way to Quit Smoking. You can just read the book and by the end, you'll be pretty much a non-smoker, or you go to a one-day seminar where they don't do hypnosis or anything. You just sit there with a bunch of people and during the breaks, you can smoke. And so all they do is they just point out all the programming, how you've been programmed, and they basically are deprogramming you from being cigarettes is cool. Actually, no, it's not. It's stinky.
Yeah.
I mean, you smoke, it's like, okay, that girl's going to kiss me. It's like licking an ashtray.
Yeah.
I think I'm dead in the water, so I got to get some mints. And they start deprogramming you. And by the end, you're like, yeah, I'm a non-smoker. And so it has like a 90% permanent success rate. It's really an amazing thing because it works on deprogramming and not the patch or anything like that. The nicotine addiction is not the issue. The patch is designed to basically sell the patch, not to get you to quit smoking.
So the foods, the supplements, all of that. I know you said before we talked, you're going right to the seed, right? So I want to.
Yeah. So because I wrote the book Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About, it was the number one best-selling health book of all time. People always say, what supplements do you take? And I go, look, you can. I have 100 different bottles. Half of it's garbage anyways. I'm always mixing it up. I'm still looking. I can't find anything that's any good. Why don't you make your own supplement brand? I'm too busy. I got too many enterprises. Well, we launched a company called World's Best Nutritionals and Organics. World's Best Nutritionals and Organics. And it's producing the world's best nutritional supplements. The flagship is the daily supplement. It comes with 2 packets and it says day 1 AM and in it is 6 capsules. And then it has day 1 PM and in it is 6 capsules. Day 2 AM, day 2 PM. So it's real simple. Why day 1, day 2, day 3, all the way to day 30? Because every packet contains a completely different set of ingredients. Nobody on the planet does this. When you buy supplements, you take the same thing every single day. It's the stupidest thing you could do. Do you eat the same meal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
No.
Every single day? No. You have different food, don't you? For breakfast, different food for lunch, different food for dinner. And usually the next day, it's also different. Why? Because the body is designed to get nutrients from food, number one, but also from different food. That way you get different amounts of the nutrients every day in different proportions to one another. And because the nutrients are coming into your body via food, they assimilate properly. And because it's food, up to 30% of food defies chemical analysis, which means there's nutrients in there that science hasn't discovered yet, but you still need them. So if you're taking supplements that have vitamin C, ascorbic acid, throw it away. You're being scammed. That's not vitamin C. Oh, yes, it is. Science says it's vitamin C. Oh, really? Okay. Scurvy is a vitamin C deficiency. We've heard of the disease scurvy. If you take a whole bunch of ascorbic acid, you still have scurvy. But if you eat an orange, you're cured of scurvy. Why? Because ascorbic acid is not vitamin C. The orange has ascorbic acid in it, but it also has bioflavonoids. And it has all these other cofactors, many of which science hasn't even discovered yet. So in order to get a proper whole food nutrition, what I produced is all organic whole foods. They're concentrated. And every packet is different. It's like having a different meal every single time. So every morning you're getting a different set of nutrients in different proportions to one another from different sources. It's unlike anything on the market. And when I went to the to the places that actually source this stuff, I was physically there at the plant. I was physically there on the farm. I want to see the seed. I want to know where the seed came from. Did it come from Monsanto? Is it an heirloom seed? Where's it put in the ground? I want to test the soil. I want to test and find out exactly when you're picking the fruit. Are you picking it at pure ripeness? What are you doing with it? Who's picking it? How are you paying these people? I go through this whole thing. They said, you're insane. They all said, you're insane. You don't have to do this. You can put ascorbic acid in for vitamin C, and the people are too stupid. They don't know the difference. All they look at is they want 500 milligrams. I go, this isn't a product for selling. This is a product for me to take, which is different. Everybody else, a guy told me that one time. I said, he had this beautiful label. Look at the label. Look at the label. The marketing of the label. I got a 10 times markup. And I said, do you take that? And he laughed. He goes, this isn't for taking. This is for selling.
Yeah.
And I go, you know something? I've known you my whole life. And I go, you're completely unethical. I said, I'll still have dinner with you, but you're unethical.
Yeah.
I said, I'm selling supplements that are for take. I'm making supplements that I'm going to take.
Yeah.
And if people want to, they're the world's best. They're not going to be cheap, but they are and these people said, you want to go, you should be getting everything from China. It's like a third the cost. I go, yeah, but it has lead in it. You look at the stuff from China. It has rat feces, all this stuff. Oh yeah, well, that happens. I go, no, look, we know they lie. When it comes over, the manifest said meets all EPA requirements for these children toys. Yeah. And then when they're analyzed, it's full of lead paint.
Yeah.
And what's the penalty? Nothing.
Yeah.
So you can't trust anything from certain countries. So the point is, our stuff is the stuff that I'm making it for myself.
Yeah.
It's that good.
So where can people get that stuff? Is it on the market yet? Like, can you buy it?
We're taking pre-orders now. People can go to KevinTrudeau.com. My website, everything's there. Okay. The book, Your Wish is Your Command, is there. They can get information on the supplements there, KevinTrudeau.com. Just get on the mailing list. We'll give you all the information, but we'll be shipping the supplements probably by the end of the year.
I love it. Kevin, I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure. I think we haven't even touched the surface here, but as we come to an end, I really want to respect your time. Any last words for the people right now? Something that if someone's listening here and they're in that trance.
Yeah, I would say what Zig Ziglar, the great motivational speaker and good friend of mine, we traveled together for many years. He told me years ago, he was a born again Christian and he was a very wonderful person. And he said, you were born to win. You were engineered for success. You were designed for accomplishment, and you were endowed with the seeds of greatness. Dream big dreams and don't let anyone steal your dreams.
That is it. I'm leaving it there.
Engineered for success. You were designed for accomplishment, and you were endowed with the seeds of greatness. Dream big dreams and don't let anyone steal your dreams.
That is it. I'm leaving it there. And that was another episode with The Vault Unlocked, where proven builders, real strategies, and unstoppable growth happens. Subscribe now, because the next unlock could be the one that rewires your business forever.
This is where the playbook is revealed and the vault is unlocked.